Hey everybody, before we get started, I just remind you this episode is brought to you by our patrons like Ahigo Comics and Draco66. If you like what we do and want to see us do more, consider supporting us on Patreon. You can get access to episodes early and lots of other goodies, and it would really help us out. Thanks for your support, everybody.
Thank you.
Head to the go-go, baby!
Transform, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk FGO, your one-stop shop for all magical FGO needs, because FGO is inherently magical. How many magic puns will we make today? I don't even know because the show's not really scripted. Hi, I'm one of your hosts, Omega Ruby.
And with him as always, it is me, Lucky Sapphire.
Yeah, you thought we were going to make the Pokemon joke, but no.
Yeah.
He's lucky still.
No, it is not.
I added the Sapphire. Alright. Well, let's get this magical thing rolling then.
Alrighty then, everyone, I hope you are enjoying Fate Grand Order, aka How to Raise Your Magical Girls. And while we here at Studio Omega like to bring you the latest in FGO related news and memes, we will be talking about current and future events with the JP and EN version of the game. So anyone not wanting spoilers should go do a transformation scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we're here, we're doing it again. We've got a very important question, which we always ask at the beginning of the show, which is very simply, where the fuck is Ron?
I think he's getting hyped for the Destiny 2 expansion, as he's probably literally the only person still excited for and playing that game. I literally played it for like 2 months, got max leveled, and I'm like, I don't have enough friends to be interested in this.
Hi, welcome to Destiny. That's how I felt about the first one. I loved it, and then I got done with it, and I'm like, well, these expansions are coming out, but they're really expensive for me now, so it's not really worth it. And then I was like, I'll buy Destiny 2. My friends are done playing it already? I'll wait till they do another Game of the Year edition. But that's probably a what's up topic.
Yeah.
We could talk about Destiny, because you played all of the original Destiny 2. I played all of Destiny, because I got the Game of the Year, whatever, the complete collection, or whatever, on PS4, so I imported my character and played the whole thing. Except raids, because they still don't do matchmaking.
Nope.
Which is awful. But anyway, let's go ahead and move into the show, because we have loads to talk about today. Not really, but whatever. And let's check in with everybody's favorite Kohai, Mash.
先輩起きてください
That's right, everybody. Welcome to Wake the Fuck Up Senpai, a regular segment for pro tips. So, number one, this is very community specific to our community, but if you're listening to it, you're technically part of our community, so it's nice. If you're on our Discord, don't forget to check our channel descriptions, and more importantly, our pinned post in our Discord channels. It helps eliminate confusion, and we pin many helpful topics on current events and in general, like the item drop chart, which we've talked about at length about how great it is. That Google Doc, it's pinned in our FGO channel. So, just a reminder, it's there. Check those. You'll learn lots of useful things. Also, a reminder from the conclusion of last week's show, in case you didn't pay attention then, read the description of the videos, nerds. And, our second pro tip is more relevant, though it's not very long, which is, very simply, don't forget your bind code, kids. I'm pretty sure we've mentioned this before, but, we've been hearing some stories and some stuff's been going on, so we figured it's good to mention again. Don't forget your bind code.
Yeah, it's best to copy them down somewhere just in case something happens to your phone or just anything. Just in case, write it down, put it somewhere safe, like copy it onto a notepad in your computer. That's what I did.
Yep.
Because
and if you use it correctly, it does work.
Yeah, it does work. Because boy howdy, if there's one thing that terrifies me right now, it's me breaking my phone and not being able to play FGO. Because remember, people, I've put over $2,000 into this game. I'm literally one smash screen away from losing that.
There's your good old sunk cost fallacy. Alright. It's also another good one is, the bind code only works once, so also remember to get a new one right after you use your last one.
Oh yeah,
because because it's not permanent. Otherwise, you have to go through. This is something we kind of alluded to on the latest episode of What's Up, because we talked about it, comparing a lot of our, gacha-esque waifu mobile games comparisons, and God, it would be really nice if FGO did something other than a fucking manual code to bind everybody's accounts. Y'all have an official Twitter? Hook it up to my Twitter. I'll do that. Hook it up to... Don't hook it up to Facebook, because that's just a plague, but do something. But don't just make it all client and server side, because that's really unliable, and it's probably a pain in the ass for them too, when they have to like run down tracking down people's accounts. But anyway, let's move on from that. Ancient Records from the Throne, our regular achievement topic.
Yay.
Tomo Lancer's Smile Protected.
Yeah.
Also, hey, make sure to follow me on Twitter for news like this, but I got a surprise Angra spook while just dropping some FP for CEs. Literally, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm like, well, I'm not super tired, I'll log into FGO real quick and, you know, get my login, and I've got some FP saved up, I'll roll for CEs. Not even on the actual spending the FP, but doing the first free 10 roll, just phone freaks out a little bit, whatever, just tap through it. Heroic Spirit Summon, I'm like, wait, what? I'm sorry, what? And I tweeted about it right then and there. So yeah, that shadowy asshole's hiding in my back row, just waiting for some expos. Which will be fine. Eventually. Okay. You know, I didn't know how many all XPs I'm gonna need for Chloe later.
Yeah. For me, I'm pretty sure I called it. I'm pretty sure I did. I'm pretty sure I said, like, I knew this was gonna happen, because that's how Lux works. But basically, while making a few rolls for event CEs, I got me an elementary schoolgirl. I got Ilya. And I don't know what to do with her right now. I feel like I should be leveling her. I'm not. I'm just kind of staring at her. I'm just like, how dare. I know people are going to be like, how dare you be flippant.
You also have a Sanzo, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just flush with offensive casters.
Mm-hmm. I have 2 support SSRs and 2 buster SSR casters. The only SSR caster I do not have is Da Vinci.
Rip. Well, hey, that kind of seems like a good point to spring into our news really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's jump to Skelograms. So number 1, they're both quick, so I'll just smash them out of the way real quick.
Boom.
In Japan, FGO Memories 1 Commemoration is running from 8/19 to 9/2, so it's got a few days left. This celebrates the release of Memories 1, which we talked about a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. It wasn't last show, it was 2 shows ago.
I thought it was last show.
Was it last show? Maybe.
Because I put in the image. I remember putting in the image.
Okay, so maybe it was last show. Now it might be a couple weeks back. I don't know. Timing. But we talked about it definitely, that this was like a collection of the CE images coming out. Well, apparently to celebrate the official release, they did a commemoration. There's a Commemoration Quest, there's a Commemoration CE, it does the usual Commemoration CE thing. More interestingly, there's a summon banner with Da Vinci and literally every limited CE from Part 1.
That sounds so bad.
Beatty. Yar.
Like, you know, it's great to have another Da Vinci raid up, but all those CEs, like we were saying earlier, like, CE pools right now are already wonky.
Yeah.
And do you know how many events there were in Part 1?
You can, remember, hit summon info. You can look up what the percentage is every time for all banners now, but I'm pretty sure the rate up on CEs has always been bad.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's baity as heck, but you know, it's Da Vinci, so I'm pretty sure some people are like having like internal struggles right now.
Plus, you do never know when you're gonna get another shot of those CEs. It's good that it exists. It's just, God, like for us, we're presumably gonna be playing from launch until this event version comes out in English, and just.
You see, I'm pretty good about rolling on my banners now, so I usually got like at least 1 copy of Event CE, so.
Honestly, usually with tickets I have decent luck. Not so far with this banner, but I've only beaten 3 bosses, so I haven't had a lot of pulls. I did eventually get 1 extra copy of Zunga Zunga on FP pulls though, which is nice. But still. And then just a quick North America note is there's going to be another FGO localization panel at Crunchyroll Expo. This will be on 9/1. It's an actual FGO panel, so there will probably be something. There's also an Aniplex panel there, but this is the one we're talking about is the actual FGO localization panel. There will be something there. If you happen to be around, be kind to Albert, but don't be afraid to ask him questions. Just, you know, be nice. Don't throw stuff at him
about the
anything.
CCC event.
No, it's dumb. He gets asked that every time. It's gonna happen. Shut up.
Oh.
The Prisma event happens. CCC is gonna happen. Y'all were crazy the whole time. Just like we said, be kind. Gesundheit.
Yeah, excuse me.
But yeah, so it's gonna happen. That'll be fun to see. Probably get some quartz out of it. Let's see. When does 9-1 happen?
The Prisma event's still going to be going, so I don't think they're going to be announcing like Nerofest or anything out there.
No.
Who knows, maybe
We got like 10 days, so that'll only be like, that's a week from now. We'll still have like 3 or 4 days left in the event.
Yeah.
I don't even know what's supposed to be in between Prisma and Nerofez. Let me go look that up real quick.
Banner?
I have to wait for all the stuff to load. What JP year are we in? Okay, we're in that one.
Yeah, so normally the event that happens after Prisma is Nerofest. It's going to be our first rerun. But
After Nerofest is going to be it, because Nerofest isn't a rerun. They call it a Redux, but it's actually different.
It's a challenge event, Nerofest. It's the new
the
type.
Setups.
We had our original we had our original Nerofest, and now they're doing a new kind of Nerofest.
Yes, it's I think a similar structure, but because it's same with all the bronze, silver, and gold medals, but the actual like content of the quest and stuff is completely different.
They keep upgrading it.
Okay, so in between Prisma and Nerofez, there's, let's see, 21. So it normally ran from 8 September to 21 September. Nerofez didn't start until a week after, so that's probably too early. A week of lead time. They'll probably talk about the class-based summoning campaign instead, which should be the week-long spacer between that event and this. And in Japan, it came with a free AP. A free quest half AP, but we already got free quest half AP, so maybe it'll be story instead. Who knows? But yeah, so okay, I don't know if they'll have any real event announcements there. I know a lot of people complain about their event announcements at cons, but I don't think it'll math-wise line up to anything.
Yeah.
It'll probably just be hey, we had a panel. Here's like 3 quartz because we did. Maybe more. Who knows? But yeah. It's fine. All of it goes into the pile. But yeah, I guess that's that. I mean, so the past couple months we kind of missed it because we had very busy schedules where it was very clear it was coming out. But I feel like when September actually hits, because we'll record the show on September 1st. Mm-hmm. We should probably do another, future-looking lens Shiba to like be like, okay, here's what we're pretty sure is going to happen in this month.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was the thing.
Yeah, we used to do that. We skipped a couple months because our event schedule in summer and FGO got very busy, and it was very obvious what was coming next each time. Like, everybody knew, like, okay, Camelot release, there's gonna be an anniversary, there's gonna be a summer event in there somewhere, and now they announced Prisma with a decent amount of lead time.
There are no secrets. There are no surprises. Now we're getting into some wibbly-wobbly.
Actually, yeah. At this point, the schedule is loose enough that we are probably going to get a few surprises. We've been talking about on this in Discord a lot, but I really hope, because I don't know if people realize this, but I'm trying to remember how the order was flipped, but for us, the order between Halloween and Okeanos was flipped in the US version.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was so that Okeanos came out first. The story chapter released first, and then Halloween came after. That's not how it happened in Japan. So they will totally move story events up, and I really, really hope they do that with Babylonia before Christmas, because otherwise Christmas is going to take place entirely, the Christmas event will take place entirely in November.
Mm-hmm.
Which will just be weird. Like, we've complained about them missing dates by like a couple weeks, but that's not super bad. It makes the scripting sound a little silly. If it's completely the wrong month, that's just like, what the fuck are you guys even bothering with? Like, you could have avoided this.
Like, ideally, I'm hoping they put the Christmas rerun in Babylonia in November, and then New Christmas and the final event in December. Like, that's the ideal situation for me.
Yeah, because remember, the actual finale event, which is not Babylonia, but the actual finale event has to take place at the end of the year. Because that's how it works. And that's very important to you people out there, because the commemoration for that launch is the Merlin Banner. December's a rough time. you've got Babylonia story banners with a couple of new 5 stars. You've got the Christmas banner with Ishtar as a limited 5-star. There's the Merlin banner. Musashi is the New Year's banner, and I think right after her is the King Hassan banner, as just like a random summoning campaign. It's nuts.
I think at that point we start hitting February.
Yeah, we're getting close to that.
And then we have the Valentine's event with NHX Alter.
Yeah. Another rough period of time.
Yeah. Get wrecked. Get wrecked your wallets.
Alright, so let's move on to free talk. Let's see, how long have we been going? 15 minutes, that's not bad. We probably stretched out that news a little bit. So I'll take this first one because it involves pronouncing things.
Yeah.
So, it would appear that the Chinese server is going with Meltrilis. I assume that's how it is. Because the Amaryllis. But, this may be a sign of localization to come. I think this is an reverse of the Artoria Altria situation because, the official Type Moon spelling in side materials previously has been Melt Lilith for like 5 years. But Melt and the combination of the word melt and Amaryllis, the flower, is technically accurate. So it's a little weird to me that they're willing to backtrack Melt Lilith to Meltrilis, which I do think flows slightly better, the consonants.
Meltrilis, Melt Lilith. Yeah, I can see what you mean.
It will probably cause no bounds of confusion to people, though, but it's
rage.
very interesting because we're not too far away from the Shinjuku chapter release. That'll be early next year, where I have been told that the script explicitly explains the logic behind Artoria's name as the feminine form of Artorius, which is not Altria, thanks, Type Moon. And I'm really curious how they're going to handle that in English. Because, God, they've got to know that, like, if they see that script, that'd be like, man, this just makes it even more awkward.
Remember, Saber's voice actor went, "How dare you?" like, at Axe for changing the name to Altria. So, like, she let her wrath be known.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, when you hear her say it, when she introduces herself as Saber, as the voice actress of Arutoria Pendragon, like you can to an English speaker, you can instantly be like, oh, okay, she's saying something like Artoria, and I've said this before. If you wanna put a U in there to further anglicize it as opposed to Romanize it, that's fine. But seriously, no, there's not an L in there. That's not how English works. That's not how Latin works either. That's a very Japanese thing. And it's not a Japanese name. But like I said, we'll see how people feel and what they do with Meltrilis. I feel like they probably will, if that's because like I said, that's the most accurate version, because all the Sakura 5 are named after flowers. Passion Lip, Meltrilis, Violet, Kazura Drop, King Protea. But anyway. Let's go to Prisma Codes.
Yeah, the meat of the conversation. Like, I haven't actually wrote anything about, like, the actual event and its mechanics. I've just been, like, writing notes on things that have made me laugh.
Well, let's be real. It was very interesting. I saw the Fate Grand Order bot, which occasionally has a person behind it, tweet that they weren't impressed by the event, and they were like, at first I was like, what are you talking about? But then I'm like, actually, you know what? If you think about the mechanics of the event, it isn't very interesting. Because the way the raid thresholds are set up, you have to grind to unlock the next level, which is annoying. I'm already gonna try and do all the missions anyway, dudes. Don't cockblock me here.
Yeah, we want stuff.
I wanna keep going. There are tickets involved, and it's a pain in the butt. I'm gonna do all the missions anyway because that's how you get crystallized lores and stuff. But that aspect is a little annoying. Also, quite frankly, I don't even know why they bother with raids, because they're not that hard with the damage modifiers. I guess there is a little bit of strategery. It's so easy to just pick somebody.
Are you kidding? I've literally gone Team Magical Girl this entire time, and I've been fine. I won't lie,
that's what I mean, though, right? Like, you're technically playing the event right. Like, people who are not playing the event right, quote-unquote, are, like, I saw a funny joke about the best Magical Girl team. It was Emiya, Ku, and Gil.
Yeah.
that's technically not doing it right. They're still fine.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard lots of people,
That's
magical girl, quote-unquote, coup alter. Somebody's support list was entirely girls of the magical persuasion, except for Kintoki. So, yeah, I'm not sure why they bothered with a raid. It's an interesting concept, mixing the raid with the 100 missions type event. I think it's interesting, but it's...
If they had kept it a more traditional raid with, like, not the, like, 3 to 4, like, benchmarks you have to hit, it'd have been fine.
Yeah, if it was just like,
had,
okay, you beat, like, a 10 AP, now you can access, like, a 20 AP version, but the HP is higher, etc., that would be a lot better if they were kept trying to keep it an AP raid.
The final boss, and, like, maybe made the final boss a, collective
Yeah,
raid.
if at any point these were global raids also, that would completely change the tone of this.
Yeah. But, you know, as I said, I'm not unhappy with the event, because as I said, the writing is hilarious. Like, this is literally, like, all the notes that I personally take are just me, like, laughing at things.
Yeah, I think that's, like,
the
90% of what I said was just either stuff about the writing or character of it.
Yeah. Like, to start, like, Omega, like, start this one, but, like, basically, as soon as the event opens, you're, like, pretending to be asleep, and Mash is standing over you, like, promising to, like, bleep you, and you're just like, show me.
Exactly.
You
You have two dialogue choices. You can continue to pretend to be asleep, or you can mumble, show me what you got. And I'm like, of course I'm gonna pick that.
Mm-hmm.
You fucking nuts?
And, of course, like, as soon as events, you, like, run into Ilya and to Mev, and you get the whole introduction about magical girls, and then one of your options is magical college student Mev, and I'm all like, I want to see that.
Yeah, because Maeve is clearly, despite her being tiny, she is clearly not young enough to be a magical girl. I mean, like...
She even mentions something like about that, like, it's like, I'm barely safe, okay?
Like, you can see it when she has her personal eye catch. It's one of the versions of her sprite with less skin covered. It's subtle, but Maeve has girl abs, so that's not very magical girl-esque. At least not on the same caliber as Ilya.
But no. Yep. And what I found interesting about this event, which is like has like been the like never happened in anything, is you can go back to Chaldea.
In fact, you do.
Like, that was something I found interesting. It's like they set up the circle, you go back to Chaldea, you talk to Roman, Da Vinci gives you a new mystic code. You get sidelined by Blackbeard and Phantom of the Opera, who acted exactly as I expected them to, and I love them for it.
And I'm like, see you later, bye guys.
It's like, no, you can't come. No.
No, it's a bad idea.
Very bad idea. And then I remember that they become bosses later, and I'm just like,
that's the epilogue of the event, is the magical gentleman raids.
It's like, oh, they showed up anyway. Also, apparently, the Master has just become so used to weird shit happening that he has become, or she has just become, I'll just roll with it. Which is true. Like, you just think about it, just the weirdest shit happens to the Master.
Like Da Vinci gives you a mystic code, which is faux ears.
It's like, creepy dreams. Oh, everything's burning. I've been transplanted to another world. Yay.
But in this world, Mash is a magical girl. That's great.
That is great.
And Da Vinci gives you faux ears.
Faux ears. Apparently it's a new mystic code, which makes me say, Kimono Mimi mystic code release when?
Yes. I want more mystic codes in general, but yeah, also yes. Maybe when they do a Prisma rerun.
It's also great because you can totally start hamming it up with the magical girl thing.
Oh yeah.
Like,
that's one of the things I love about this event is the dialogue. Like, dialogue choices aren't super meaningful, but they're still great.
Mm-hmm. Like, it definitely lets you, I tell, this is what I tell everyone, you always get two choices, and they're either class or they're sass. Like, you can have, like, a serious, like, meaningful response, or you can just be like, heh, here comes the jokes. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, I'm picking the sass reaction. In the event, it's usually saying something about magical girls and ending your sentences with foe.
Mm-hmm. Or you could show your surprising kinship with Ruby and your knowledge of magical girl tropes.
Mm-hmm.
A couple
It's
of
like,
times.
yes, flying around in a mini skirt is what makes a magical girl. And Mash is like, I did not know you were familiar with that kind of magecraft. And I'm like, haha.
And
Roman
Ruby's
and
just
I are
like,
kindred spirits.
ooh, this is a good one. Which is bad, because Ruby is very bad. Guys, if you haven't actually read or watched Prisma, Ruby is not a good influence.
No, she is not.
You should be able to tell from this event.
But
also,
of Ruby, shout out to her for memes and meta knowledge. Like one I just remember seeing recently. Like earlier when you're talking about sneaking around, Ruby straight up says, "I'll go snake this," and I'm like, "Yes, Metal Gear." Talking about, I can't remember any other ones off the top of my head, but I was all like, "Wow, Ruby." Also, interesting enough, I can't remember if she says this in like the summoning line or in the game, but she refers to you as a Grand Master, which I thought was an interesting choice of words.
Yeah,
considering the whole situation you're in.
Also, I know that from the shop, Ilya calls you Master San, which is a fun way to get around both the master trope and also the fact that your name is selectable.
But yeah, I was just thinking, if there's grand classes, why not be a Grand Master? And what would a Grand Master be able to do? Contract with a whole bunch of fucking servants, that's what.
Our servant compatibility is the best.
So I don't think that actually has any like significant lore meanings. It might have just been something that Ruby says, but I still like to consider the weight of those words. Also, I'm with Fake Cat. New animations for her, please.
You know, we're coming up. Let's see. Let me double check how long there's left. I think there's 3 days left in the... Yeah, there's just over 3 days left in the Summer of Festival event, so there'll be something happening in JP before too long. They really should rerun Fate Zero first, but there's always a chance they'll do something new. So we'll see what they do. I also wrote this down. So there's a slightly TV-esque feel for this event. There are eye catches literally in the middle of the quest. There are dramatic cutaway scenes the player isn't present for, and there's a couple of times where you end a quest and then you start the new quest, and there's a dramatic recap of how the last quote-unquote episode ended, just like anime. It's really great.
Like our animes. This event really tries to nail a bunch of the Maho Shoujo tropes.
Which is
you
fair.
gotta have the mask.
While it wasn't written by him directly, it was overseen by the actual author of the Prisma Ilya manga.
Yeah, you gotta have transformation scenes. You gotta have mascots. You gotta have your character believing in truth and love and all that stuff. And you can't beat someone to death. No, you have to come to an understanding at the end.
You have to friendship them. Listen, I watched Magical Girl Lyrical Nanaha. I know how this works. And the way that it works is much like that series. You shoot big beams at them until they're your friend.
And then you watch Madoka Magica, and then everything changes. Oh,
also, by the way, I think there's technically a reference to that, because Blackbeard talks about who he wants to go talk to. He wants to go talk to the drunk Oni and the Empress. I'm pretty sure that's a reference that Sakura Tange and Aoi Yuku have done magical girl roles before. I'd have to double check who they did, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's referencing, because people have pointed it out.
The meta knowledge is real. It is deep.
Yeah. Magical shop girl Ilya is great with her little... When you're doing missions, she's in normal costume, but when you switch over to the shop, she's in the little apron and everything. It's fucking adorable.
Her lines are great too. I haven't fully translated them myself because my Japanese ain't the greatest, but they're kind of funny.
Also, well, yeah, in the store, most servants display different expression sprites, but Ilya's got some great fucking expressions.
Oh,
with her swirly eyes and her deadpan eyes. I don't know what Ruby says to her, but there's at least one in the missions where there's a very obvious Sure. Reaction.
So, as soon as Nursery Rhyme said Black Goat, I fucking knew what was coming. Like, the Black Goat with a 1,000 shib nigger hat. I'm like, no! I just want to enjoy my tea!
Nope, Demon Pillar.
It's like, God damn it, Ryan. You're so adorable, yet so sinister.
Demon Pillars. Honestly, she's probably the creepiest magical girl in this setup, which makes sense, because it's Rhyme. Also, her final buff is called Full of Stars, which is a classy pun.
Yes, it is. Also, again, they're really hamming it up with the magical girl stuff, because if you're using a quote-unquote magical girl, or you have a female with the rubies or sapphire CE
basically
equip,
anybody who gets the bonus damage.
Yeah, get the bonus damage. Their attacks get the magical girl sparkle.
And
the
a sound
Kita
effect.
Does makes the sound effects. I hear a lot of people are getting annoyed with them. I'm fine with them. I think it's hilarious.
I mean, it's a little repetitive, but yeah, no, it's funny because if you don't have the damage CEs equipped or use an event bonus servant, you realize the difference, which makes it all the funnier.
Yeah. Like I had Drake with Ruby for a while because yes, and just like as I said, Drake has some high hits, and so just hearing that go, I was like, I'm dying. I'm like.
Especially since she's using her guns. Yeah. It is pretty funny.
It's funny, okay? Apparently you, as a master, are leveling your husbando waifu skills as a chef in a red overcoat is teaching you how to cook.
Because when you go back to Chaldea, you make lunches for everybody.
Yeah. Apparently you do more than just sit in this. You just sit in the side, do more than just sit in the back line and go team. That's one of those things that really always irritates me about this. Like, technically, you as the master, you really don't do much.
Well, you're not supposed to.
You're
really
literally
as a master.
just
what you do is what you do in game, which is you spend Mystic Code's ability and you spend command seals.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is technically what most masters are supposed to be doing in a Holy Grail War. The fact that uninitiated goofuses like Shiro are out there fighting on the front lines is kind of a rarity.
Actually, the whole Emiya family is kind of weird.
Well, that's because Kiritsugu's also, that's his shtick, is that he's a mage who fights mages and is very scary at it.
Yeah. But even Ren can't fight on the front line. Then,
well, yeah, no, most mages have some form of offensive magecraft to look after themselves. It's just they don't deliberately put themselves in that situation. Because that would be bad, mostly. I mean, like, if we could get a few more offensive abilities in our Mystic Codes, that wouldn't be bad. Like, we have Gondor as one of them, but that's just like a stun. We can give our servants buffs, but if we could, like, if you could, say, curse the enemy team or burn them to do, like, dot.
Yeah.
Or, if you could,
I think that'd be good.
Or if you could, because there are enemy abilities which do static damage. If you could just do 1,000 HP damage. Like, it's not a lot, or maybe make it scale to, like, between 1,000 to 2,000. Like, it's not gonna make a big difference in, like, say, a big challenge quest, but you could polish off a weakened enemy like that.
Dude, do you know how many bosses I've, like, gotten down to, like, 1,000 to 2,000 health before they fired off their MP?
I mean, no, it happens. But like I said, that'd be fun to be like, because you'd have to do it on your turn. So it would not be broken, but I think that would be really interesting. Honestly, this has been brewing, I think, in our Discord for a while, especially since we played so much Azure Lane. Dear FGO, I know we're 2 years away from you, and you don't listen to us directly, but please, get some more in-depth mechanics. Command codes are cool. Do more with that. Do more with Mystic Codes. And do more with My Room. Just do more shit all the time, not just in events. You can argue FGO has a certain merit in its simplicity, but it doesn't have to be simple, right? And they've shown that with gradually introducing new mechanics. It's just
all our events have crazy mechanics with raids, island building, mission systems.
Which honestly,
It's oh,
that
the
is a thing
races.
that other like mobile games I've played don't do probably as well. Like we've played a lot of Girls Frontline. They usually do like a points ladder event. The lotto event was cool. Like the I shouldn't say lotto. The bingo card event was cool.
That was fun. I
FGO
like that.
hasn't done that yet, but like a lot of events in Girls Frontline are just I'll do the points ladder. Like yeah, I'm glad that FGO doesn't repeat a lot of that. Like yeah, okay, there are points ladder events, but usually there's something else, right? Like some of the points ladder events have been raids also, so the points ladder is literally how much damage you do. Others have been the points are a single type of drop. The summer event right now is the points are a collective type of drop, so you can collect different points to add to your total points ladder score, stuff like that. Like, FGO is usually creative with what it does. It's just like we said, God, when you're not in the middle of an event, it can be a little dull. Spice up your normal gameplay loop, guys.
Yeah, it's like seriously, one of my favorite things from Azure Lane right now, just the dorms, just the dorm room. It's just because I literally just like go out, do some stuff, get some stuff, and make a happy little place for my ship girls. I'm like, teehee.
Yeah, that could be great. And honestly, just integrate it into DaVinci Shop.
Yeah.
Just with prisms and rare prisms. Not like full-blown, like you need quartz or something for it. Just, no, if you happen to have mana prisms left over, or rare prisms for some stuff, because that's like rolling on the gacha because of how you get those. Like, no, just do a little stuff, decorate, spice up your... I know they changed the Myrim background, if you could, like, pick Myrim backgrounds. But like I said, I feel like they're trying to keep the game, like, streamlined and small. So it's still fundamentally a phone game, right?
Yeah, I think they're trying to focus more on story and lore.
Well, yeah, that's what they're good at, is the story is the only reason why people are still playing this game. And even then, it always hasn't been that good. But I really wish they would branch out a little on their game mechanics. Anyway, we kind of distracted from there. I wrote the next bullet point about Medea Lily, how she's just as bad as her adult self. Her response to the stressful situation is with people she doesn't want to deal with, is she wants to bust out her model kits. Also, here's an interesting fluff note. In the event, Medea Lily says she loaned her Talos model kit to Europa, who is a heroic spirit she's mentioned in the original Medea's Mats profile. The original Bronze Giant Talos, who Medea defeated in Argonautica, was given to Europa by Zeus. So, hey, fun bit of lore connectivity.
If Europa's gonna be a servant, she's gonna be a rider. There's no other way to be around it.
Yes.
Europa was the girl that Zeus turned into a bull and pretty much captured Europa when she sat on this magnificent bull and ran off so fast that she couldn't get off.
He ran off to an entirely different island. But then he was like, hey, I'm Zeus. I like you. We're cool. I'm gonna give you lots of stuff. And he gave her, like, a beautiful necklace, a bronze giant, literally. God, I hope they do something fun with Talos, because in Medea's Mats profile, she says that Europa possesses the quote-unquote strongest guardian, so naturally it would clash them thinking, oh, it's fucking Talos. Europa has to summon a giant robot. Yeah. Please.
She'd be a rider on the back of a bull, and her noble phantasm would be Talos, the bronze guardian.
And I hope they give it to somebody who draws mecha art.
Yep.
Because they've thrown some references in there. They could do something fun. So much fun.
That is definitely a thing with Greek gogs. Here, I'm gonna completely ruin your life. Here, have some shit to make up for. We're out.
Well, that's usually how they work. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know what their exact relationship is because the backstories are the same. But like, supposedly, Bellerophon, the Pegasus, Medusa has is a gift from Poseidon, not like a, which technically in the version most people know, the Pegasus and the giant Cryosaur are basically Medusa and Poseidon's kids that emerge from her neck when her head gets cut off because the Greeks had thoughts about what the brain was for. It's the same reason why Athena jumps out of Zeus's face, but yeah, no. Cryosaur is also a thing, which is really interesting. I don't know if that... I mean, we gave the spoiler warning, so, I think Cryosaur is, Gorgon's Bonsi, and supposedly, they're like a golden figure that emerged from the defeated Gorgon and looks just like Medusa, so I don't know. Is that a thing? Is that a heroic spirit?
Who knows? I said we still got almost a year's worth of content in Lost Belt, so who knows what they're coming out with. Give Dragon Mom.
Krayosaur.
Give Dragon Mom.
He who has a golden sword, brother of the winged horse Pegasus. Yeah, there's not a lot of notes about Cryosaur, but if they want to make Blonde Medusa a Blonde Medusa saber, that'd be funny. Do it. I'd roll. Are you fucking kidding me? Give me Medusa faces.
She has to have an Ahage.
Of course. Duh. That'd be great, though. That'd be... Okay, somebody just posted something fucking hilarious in Let's Talk FGO. It's a picture of Ilya and Irisfeel from the UFO table adaptations. One says legal, one says illegal. It's not the ones you think. Because FSN Ilya is like 18 or older.
It's true.
But I actually don't know how old Irie is in Zero. She looks more adult, but she's technically younger because magic.
Magic.
It's fucking hilarious, though. We only have a couple of bullet points here. Like,
I'm gonna have to fucking post it in editing. God damn it.
There's only a couple bullet points left in the event, which is just writing that stood out to me. Honestly, I've gotten through Helena's chapter. I'm on the Maeve raid right now. It's just I'm playing like 3 mobile games. They're all on my phone, unlike Lucky, who has them scattered across multiple devices. So I have one battery to work with here.
To be fair, I only play FGO on my phone, so it's usually FGO on my phone. I'm usually playing Azure Lane or Girlfriend Lane.
Right, no. But that's what I mean. Like when I play like if I want to take a break and play Azure Lane, that's the same device. So it all comes out of the same battery pool. So my phone, it's finished charging, but now I'm recording a show. But I'm only up to Maeve raid. Helena's chapter was a lot more serious than the others. I think there were a couple good jokes in there, but most of them were pretty relaxed. I do remember.
I think it's because you're getting towards the piano, getting towards the finale where things get serious.
Right. We explain the First Lady and what's going on here. But yeah, okay. I just wrote down a couple notes like about Helena chapter. Like I don't remember if I quoted this correctly, but at one point Mash introduces herself as Demi Magical Girl Chaldea Mash. And then at a later point, Helena calls her like Squishy Mash.
Both are
which
good.
Is adorable. Yes. There's also extra story chapters in this, which are great. They have appearances from characters like Fake Astolfo, Fake Cat, Fake Ibaraki. They're just great. They're short. They have a couple jokes with Ilya and Ruby interacting with them. It's funny.
They're good. I kind of wish they had done it for all of them, because like other characters show up too. Because you have Fake Liz, Fake Artoria Lancer, Fake Artoria. Like, there's more than just
Lancer
them.
especially is hilarious.
So I'm just like,
Yeah.
But no, you don't get a little bit. You don't get a story chapter for a little extra story with all of them. And that makes me sad.
Some of them are just extra. Some of them are extra story chapters. Some of them are just farming nodes that you have to beat and unlock and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's our mission clock? We're at almost 45 minutes, so that turns out okay. It means we talked for like a half hour about Prisma. Okay. Do we have anything else to say about the Prisma event other than just the writing's fucking great?
It's like I'm not feeling the pressure to play it really right now. Like right now, because everyone knows me, I like to play FGO while we're recording. Like I'm farming hands right now because I got. Oh wait, nope. Archer Caster Day is officially over.
Whoop whoop. Yep.
But I was farming embers for Ilya and eventually Kuro. Or Chloe, excuse me.
Either works.
And like I said, I look at the time. I'm like, I still got plenty of time. I'm already on Helena. It's like I think I'm only like 20 missions in. I've gotten 20 missions done.
I'm at like 24, maybe 25.
Yeah, so I'm just
like I only just did a couple, yeah. Because I am in the Maeve chapter now, which is an odd kettle of fish.
Because I always feel like the once I get done with the story and whatnot, that's when the grind begins, and I still have plenty of time.
Yeah, like I haven't felt compelled to spend. I know some people have. I haven't been compelled to spend really any apples. I think I spent a couple of silver ones when I had like a really steep grind, because it was like, okay, you have to beat up a lot of these types of enemies that you weren't really fighting before.
Oh, it's now random Ember Day. Shit.
Yeah, it's quote unquote Sunday. That's no
I'm
good.
not good with days.
Well, and also FGO is kind of weird because it's like it's the Sunday Ember Day, and I'm like, the fuck? It's still Saturday, guys. It's not gonna be Sunday for a long time.
Yeah, at first I used to chalk it up to them just being on some weird time zone, but no, they're still doing it. I don't get it.
It's just how the rotation got set up. It probably switches in like the middle of the day or night in Japan too. It's just they call it the Sunday one. Because I guess theoretically Saturday is mostly over at this point. There's only like, what, 4 more hours left?
Yeah.
But God, 4 hours feels like a long fucking time. Ooh, hold on. I've got a at beep. Yeah, no, it's just Axe, one of our patrons in the chat, just saying like, oh yeah, no, it's 8 o'clock. It's suddenly Sunday.
Surprise!
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, let's move on, I guess then. Hopefully, Editor Lucky will pick an appropriately studious form of music.
Oh god, I have to find an appropriate studious form of music.
Yeah, whatever. Just go with your instincts. I made a graphic you could use, so you don't have to worry about that.
What is playing when Da Vinci's talking usually? I'll figure this out later.
Yeah, you'll do some kind of math science on it and figure it out. But we're into Teach Me Omega Sensei. We delayed it last week because we had a very full show and we wanted to just keep moving on. And guess what? We don't. If we didn't have this, we're at exactly over 45 minutes, and the show would be done. So, yeah, smart. Well, actually, before we get into it, as a discussion topic, we should probably say this because it did come up. Like last week on air, I talked about having voice on. We didn't end up doing that, and one of our fans also talked about having another FGO YouTuber who's actually hangs out in our Discord and got a clip for us last week, which you credited. Yeah. Fino plays. While we're working on our editing pipeline, we're not looking for a lot of direct collabs right now. Like, it's really cool. We already said we have an open invite, but we are in kind of a weird place with our workflow right now.
It's literally taking me 2 to 3 days to add editing to this video.
And also, like, we also now have had to experiment with, like, our audio editing because, especially last week, I noticed, like, Lucky had pointed out a couple times, but I didn't really think it was so bad. But last week was definitely like, oh no, we're definitely losing a lot of content here. Like, sentences are dropping when we try and, so we have to, like, adjust how we handle, like, low volume and dead air. And now, like, I'm gonna make, like, backup saves or exports of the raw audio that's unedited, and then also the edited audio for the audio version and stuff like that. Like, so we're trying to fine-tune our pipeline. So, like, adding extra hosts adds a lot of time to the episode, which is just, like, we don't need that right now.
I was like, sorry, I love these people, but, no.
Also, I would say, like, we don't watch a lot of other FGO YouTubers' content because of our time crunch, and just, like, for factual stuff, we do our own show, so guess what? We're usually looking up stuff a couple weeks beforehand also, so by the time other people's videos come out, we don't need them so much, which is fine, because the videos aren't for us, because we're doing the research on our own. But that said, I checked out, because I knew kind of what Fino did, but I didn't check out their videos specifically until just after one of our fans talked about a collab, like having them on the guest on the show. His event guides are great because they're fucking short and to the point, and it's amazing. I watched the one he did for Prisma Codes. It's like 2.5 minutes, and it's on point, and I'm like, oh my god, this is phenomenal. Just that conciseness is something I always wish we could strive for, but we're bad at because there's 2 of us.
I like the tangent.
Yeah, I mean, and if I have an audience, I get talky. So, also, especially depending on when we record stuff, sometimes we do it late at night, and when I get tired, I get chatty. The censorship between my brain and my mouth starts to degrade. But yeah, so that's like, there's no collabs or anything. We're still open to those in the future. That I think would be really fun to bring on. Yeah. I also know that besides FGO, Fino also does other stuff, like been streaming Azure Lane a little bit lately and some other stuff. So that's fun.
We are still planning on doing the collab with Voice.
Yeah, we've got another thing for his channel lined up. We just need him to get back to us about what day he wants to record.
Yeah. I said we were gonna do it before, but as I said, I was sick for 2 days, and then I had an identity crisis, and then editing, I was just no, could not do it.
And like I said, I've been wrestling with other stuff too, trying to figure out content and recording and stuff. And now I got another thing to wrestle with personally, because I did get a capture card, so now I gotta try and make that work.
Oh, I guess I'll let everyone know now. Might as heading. Well, I decided to get a new phone. So I now have a Samsung Galaxy S9. It's really cool. Really thin.
You,
I think I
you
got
already
the
ran
wrong
the transfer and
screen
everything.
The what?
I see you already ran your transfer code and everything.
Mm-hmm. So I should be able to start recording rolls and all that crazy stuff, so you can get live and fresh salt.
Also, I don't know for sure, but I feel like Lucky, you might be a little bit better suited to stream than I do, especially since your phone probably has the power to be a little clearer. Because that's something I'm wrestling with. Is my phone's good, but it's older. It was a hand-me-down, so like it doesn't have like multiple processor cores or anything, which is why I think my video is sometimes like laggy, because it's like it just doesn't have enough juice to do the heavy lifting of recording. So you end up with laggy stuff, and like I have problems with app stability with some of the recording stuff. I'm still trying to solve that, but we'll see. But for streaming especially, I think you're better at that sort of stuff than I am, I think.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I showed a picture. I literally threw up my phone screen on my TV, and I could play FGO on my TV. Yeah, I don't need no FGO arcade.
Yeah, it's cool.
Golden.
But yeah, so we're looking forward to that in the future.
Remember, everyone, when you say golden, you have to make it sound as cool as possible in honor of Kentucky.
And actually, because you pointed out why you got the phone on WhatsApp, which people should watch anyway, especially if you want to hear us talk about Azure Lane a lot. But you got it for your birthday, which was recently.
Yep.
So there, hey, you guys
Yeah,
know
it was
that.
on the 23rd.
Yep. You can now give Lucky
I got
your
a lot of
birthday
birthday wishes. Thank you very much for them. I bought me a phone. It cost me $720.
I mean, I mentioned it on air on WhatsApp, so I don't mind saying that. I'm very glad I didn't have to buy the capture card for myself, because it was quite pricey, even refurbished. It was a wonderful donation by my family, because they want me to succeed in life. Which is always fun. That means I have more money to spend on gacha. This is a lie, by the way. I'm gonna spend the money on Valkyria Chronicles 4, probably.
But
But
anyway,
anyway,
you can
let's,
record it and put it on the channel. So
Yeah, I'll turn it into a
feel
thing.
good in my book.
All right, let's move fully into Teach Me Omega Sensei. So it's been a while since we did one of these, because we only do it like once a month. And I haven't checked the survey super soon, but I'm assuming it's still about the same amount of views. But we have quite a few people who are recent viewers, only in the past couple of months, so they may not realize how regularly we do this. But this is a subject we have our patrons at the 5 and up level vote for. Maybe not right now, because you'd be charged again in like a week. But after the first, sure, be free to hop in at our $5 level if you want to vote in the next poll. But we do this every month. We have the patrons vote. They decide what the topic is going to be, and we talk about it. And these are usually more exposition-y or backstory related. Some of them are deeper lore. We've talked about stuff like classes, alters, character alignments, and stuff in the past. Nobody ever votes for it, but we have it's one of our first topics we bullet pointed on this subject, is explaining what the fuck a noble phantasm is.
Actually, we should add what the fuck is a reality marvel.
We should.
to
I
this
was
list.
literally just thinking that. I'm like, we had that discussion. We should put that in there too. That's good. Now we have 3 for next month. Because one of them also is, how do servants work? Because that's another question that people ask constantly. Like, wait, hold on. How is this supposed to work again? I'm like, we'll cover it someday. But today we're doing skills. I title this topic, Class Skills, Personal Skills. What even is a skill? And I'm going to teach you about skills. And maybe I'll teach Lucky something, or maybe not, because this has been in the notes for like 2 weeks, so I don't know if he's read it already.
We had a whole conversation about this, man.
Yeah, we did. I know. That was also like a week ago, though. Alright, so let's start. Skills are basically the Grail War / summoning system's way of categorizing abilities of class containers and heroic spirits. On a meta level, obviously Fate comes from a big D&D type background, and specifically in Fate Stay Night, Shiro perceives the stats of servants in a very game-like fashion. This is explicitly in the fiction. There's like a magecraft put on all the masters.
Everyone,
so
when you
can...
see servant stats like ranked like D to A, EX, that's how Shiro sees stats.
Yeah, they explain that there's like a magecraft put on all the masters as a thing from the Grail, so they can understand enemy servants and their own, and that's how Shiro sees his. And it just kind of stuck. So, skills come in two types normally. Class skills and personal skills. So, class skills are basically assigned by the servant container. While their rank is affected from the servant's attributes in their life, they can gain skills they never had this way based on their class. NPs and other skills can affect the ranks of class skills also. Personal skills are the much more interesting.
I think a good example of this would be the writing skill, which is one of the skills that sabers usually get. And just by having the writing skill, a servant can basically understand how to operate any type of writing implement, whether that be a horse, a motorcycle, plane.
I'm trying to think. Are there? I mean, because all of them are ranked, and there's lots of different categorizations based on them. But I think yes, just about any rank gives you you understand mundane vehicles, at least of the ground variety, up to A plus or EX rank is literally you can ride any kind of creature except a dragon because dragons are special.
Yeah, like you see this in Fate Zero with as of course Saber on a motorcycle. I don't think it really counts. Well, no, yeah, I'd still say it still counts even for Lancelot
on the jet fighter, because while he makes it a Noble Phantasm class weapon, he still operates it, I think, with his writing skill. I think that's a lot more explicit in the light novel.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the thing. Also, Saber explicitly says when she's on a plane with Irie that she could operate an aircraft if she wanted. And like we said, that is fundamentally assigned by class. It's very common for knightly classes and very common, required for riders of all types. So that's usually how that works. Personal skills are how the system categorizes skills and abilities a servant possessed via history or legend. Some servants have other classes' class skills as personal skills. Like, for instance, Karna is a lancer or an archer usually. He was also a charioteer, so he still has a high rank of riding that is beyond just some low rank he would get because of his knightly class, right? Well, let's give some examples, because that also lends to it. So examples of class skills are magic resistance, independent action, territory creation, riding, presence concealment. Examples of personal skills include charisma, mana burst, clairvoyance, divinity, eye of the mind, self-modification, tactics, etc. So you can clearly see how, sometimes class skills will carry over as a personal skill. Some characters have a high level of independent action even though they aren't archers, which is usually a skill for them. Characters who are not casters will sometimes have territory or item creation, etc. In FGO, passive skills are all categorized as class skills and active skills as personal ones. Also, FGO sometimes treats NPs as skills. This is mostly for game mechanics. Yeah. We explained.
You gotta remember, a lot of servants have multiple noble phantasms. While I think it'd be cool for people to switch between them, it also kind of might be a little game breaking. Yeah. So they get around this by making them skills.
And also, it would probably be worse because that's not very balanced, because that's usually a fluff thing. A lot of the Greek heroes possessed fuck tons of noble phantasms. Astolfo has a whole shitload because of the poetry he was part of. King Arthur, of course, just covered in noble phantasms. But some people have, one. Theoretically, Heroic Spirit Emiya only has one thing he does, which it counts as his noble phantasm, is his reality marble, which contains lots of other noble phantasms. But, do you just let him pick, then? Because that would be too much. That's too much picking. Anyway, we explained what all these passive skills do in-game in a previous episode. You can look that up. The conclusion of our written notes here is basically that class skills stuff all members of that class should have on some level, though in other classes they can keep it if it makes sense. Personal skills, however, are just what the throne, grail, or whatever chooses to interpret personal talents of a servant, which are not of a noble phantasm nature. We will explain what that means if we ever do that topic on noble phantasms. So, for instance, we talked about Lancelot. He has a noble phantasm that turns anything he picks up into a noble phantasm grade weapon, Knight of Honor. But to use those weapons, he has his skill, Eternal Arms Mastery, which is just his level of martial skill and prowess in Legend is so great that even as a berserker with Madness Enhancement, whoa, he still completely retains all of his fighting skills with weapons and stuff, which is why Lancelot is a scary man as a berserker. We've talked a little bit about how some servants get class skills as personal skills. Another example of this is like getting class skills at a low rank is like Gilgamesh in his FSN and his FGO incarnation has magic resistance like E, just because that's something knight classes usually get, but in Legend he's not really known for his magic resistance. Meanwhile, Arturia has like a strong legend of fighting casters and being resistant to curses and stuff, and she has special qualities that make her magic resistant, so her magic resistance is like crazy high. She's like A or A+. So yeah. Let's see. There were a couple of things we wanted to sprinkle in there, but...
Well, one of the things is an FGO especially, not, like, an FGO especially, like, they don't give you all of a servant's skills or noble phantasms as skills. Like, they have to cut a lot out.
Yeah.
Mostly, as we were saying before, like, for game balance.
And in some cases, like I said, they make some skills which would be classed as personal, class skills which are passive, like Divinity they decided would be a passive buff. Occasionally there are some certain specific skills which are like that as well.
And, like, it's the same for noble phantasms, like, right off the top of my head, like, fun fact, everyone know Ku's, gay bulg, is a, anti-unit, but when he throws it, it becomes anti-army, and, and you see Ku throwing that spear all over the place, like, in-game. Doesn't really change anything.
Well, you also have to say the true name and do the whole thing, but yeah, no. Like, there is an anti-army version which he throws, which is strong enough to penetrate 6 of 7 layers. Very powerful. You kind of see what that's supposed to be like with Skahak's Gay Bulg alternative. Because she sticks them with the anti-unit and, like, freezes them, and then she blasts them with the anti-army by throwing it. But it's not quite the same. So yeah, so, like, Ku should technically be able to use his one Noble Phantasm one of 2 ways. Also, it gets a little weird, but, like, sometimes Noble Phantasms are both the thing and then the thing it does. So, like, Mordred is a good example of this. Clarent is a Noble Phantasm as the sword, the demonic sword she has. It has, like, the qualities as a weapon of a blah blah rank Noble Phantasm, and it also should be, like, in normal circumstances, because it's a ceremonial sword, it should increase, like, her ranks in, like, tactics or charisma, but because she stole it, it doesn't, so it has, like, a whole legendary thing. And then Clarent Blood Arthur is specifically her anti-fortress attack, where she gets real angry about her father issues and shoots angry beams. Which is literally it even says, if her issues with King Arthur will be resolved, Mordred still possesses the capacity to shoot Clarent Blood Arthur because she can just get that mad. It is literally her anger issues beam. I think, like, Balmung is, like, the same way. Like, as a sword, it's just a thing that has an anti-dragon aspect, and then also you can make it shoot pseudo-beams. They do a lot of stuff like that.
I mean, like, you gotta look at Excalibur, like, well, I take that back. Excalibur has reasons, air quotes.
Well, yeah, it's got, like, seals and stuff on it, but still, like, it's got a normal sword thing that it should do. They also gave it a magical sheath, so it does other stuff, because Invisible Air is kind of fun. And then...
Plus you got protection from wind.
Then you've got shooting beams. The Anti-Fortress.
Remember, everyone, if you're applying for the Saber class, make sure to include on your resume what color is your beam.
And yeah, so skills are a lot like the Noble Phantoms in that regard too, because they can be anything. FGO, I think, has gotten a lot more flowery with skills, which has hurt some of their descriptions. Like, if you read Matt's, some skills have, like, no description. Like, I think, like, if you talk about, like, Ozzy's protection of Ra, it's like, divine protection from the god Ra. It protects things. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? We didn't write that description. And sometimes they just literally say what mechanically they do. Like, the target makes a luck check, and if they fail, they have a stomach ache. It's like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense logically. And we're like, we really like D&D still. I'm like, okay. All right. That's real helpful from a lore perspective. But yeah, so this is a bit like Altars. Skills are just kind of like a whatever. Anything that's not a Noble Phantasm is probably a skill. There are sealing skills or cursed skills. Like Okita's weak constitution is technically supposed to be a bad thing.
Oh yeah, migraine.
Migraine is like this. Innocent monster of
Evaporation
especially.
of sanity.
Yes,
mental
evaporation
pollution.
of sanity. Mental pollution and innocent monster are the worst offenders.
Madness enhancements is technically a negative.
Yeah,
it's
Madness
a little
Enhancements is a
above-
class skill that's like, which you appear to be able to alter the ranks of, but yeah, it's basically like you trade sanity for your other stats to go up.
Mhm.
And so characters like Heracles or Lancelot have very high Madness Enhancement, which makes their parameters sky high, but they don't really speak. They have a hard time doing stuff without orders. Lancelot tends to freak out and go off on his own when Artoria is involved. Stuff like that. So skills are not a universal good thing. It's just because we're playing a game, they have to make things fun.
I
useful.
was saying this like when we were talking about this earlier. I think it'd have been more interesting if they had added more negative penalties.
Yeah, like
To
either
certain-
as... Because there are a lot of high-quality skills that have demerits, which are cool. Like Goddess Metamorphosis, for instance, and stuff like that. That'd be cool if that was more important. Or if servants had negative passives, besides just class resistance, that they could also do stuff with. Because some passives are crazy. I didn't realize this at first, but did you know that the playable version of Kiara has a class skill, which means that despite being an alter ego, she has class advantage against rulers?
Oh.
Yeah, she does damage like an Avenger to rulers as one of her skills, her passive skills. That's, like, really interesting. I really wish they would do more than that. And it makes total sense, because that actual skill she has is called Nega Saver. It's supposed to be the anti-ruler skill.
Huh.
So it's really cool that they do stuff like that, and I wish they would do more. Maybe they need to design more interesting servants to do that.
Well, so this goes back up to it's all like, do more interesting mechanics.
And also, like, you see this a lot with early skills, like, we mentioned stuff like Charisma, Mana Burst, Clairvoyance, Tactics. Those all are very simple skills because they are well established in the fiction. If you think about Fate prior to FGO, it's a lot like almost like a tabletop RPG, right? Like, Nasu and friends kind of set out a rulebook, which is how the original was, and then most new iterations of the franchise which came out are based on those rules, so they either take cues from skills that already existed, or they just reuse skills. Like, you see Charisma all over the place, you see military tactics all over the place, Clairvoyance, stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just trying to think. You see Mind's Eye a lot, Clairvoyance
Mind's Eye,
a
yeah.
lot.
There are two versions of Eye of the Mind or Mind's Eye also, which have different meanings, like true and false. Just lots of general stuff. But yeah, I think that when FGO actually came out, they tried to do that a lot and stick with a lot of established skills, but that they came up with some of them that had simple mechanics, some of which aren't scaled well and some of which just aren't made well. Like, they weren't... Thought wasn't put into making them work for specific units. They were, okay, well, we have this skill, which is general, Clairvoyance. What does Clairvoyance do? It increases your critical star drop rate, because that's good for archers, right? Well, is it good for every archer, though? Maybe not. So, like, they had a lot of archers who had Clairvoyance have had to have it strengthened. So it's a whole thing.
And this is where we get into the rank ups and
Which are weird from a lore perspective, because a lot of these skills aren't described at all, because they were made after their mats profiles were written, or just they don't bother elaborating on them. So we don't even know what some of these skills are supposed to represent besides their mechanical components in FGO. Which is okay. It's from trying to explain this from a lore perspective, it gets a little weird. I think to close my analogy from
unfortunately,
earlier...
that's one of the things that FEO tries to really sell itself on, is all like, look at all this amazing backstory and continuity. And then you're just like...
Yeah,
but
but also we're
kinda
still making a
muddling it
game, so we have to drift some of this stuff sometimes to make something that is playable and makes sense.
Yeah.
Because just trying to do mechanics and lore doesn't always work. The analogy I think I wanted to make earlier was that FGO is like moving to a new edition of the game, where they're like, okay, we're making mechanical overhauls. That means that the previous rules, which were very fluffy, now have to be readjusted. So, honestly, a lot of skills that FGO comes up with are clever in their description or their application, they make sense as skills, and they're really fun. Like a lot of characters, have certain variants of divine protections or something, which makes sense based on gods they revered or aspects of. I'm trying to think. What are some completely recent characters who had some fun skills? Summer doesn't count because a lot of those are jokes.
Yeah.
But let's see.
Didn't Sigurd have something interesting? I know he had his Crystallization of Wisdom, which was his fucking glasses.
Yeah, which I think is actually a skill, not a noble phantasm, but we'll see. Yeah. But he's also got Dragon Species Modification, which is cool. That's like its effect is a mana burst plus a guts, but the way it works is it's like he ate the heart of the dragon, so he is closer to dragonkind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which gives him certain bonuses. He also has his own version of the Primeval Rune, which is a whole thing, because, like, a Primeval Rune is not a specific thing, it's a class of things, which is, a Primeval Rune is an original rune from the gods, right, that can't be replicated with modern magecraft, so they're a whole, like, class of things, which is why there's so many variants. But still, like, it's interesting to explore that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, let me look up Valkyries, because they had their own Primeval Rune, but they had a couple of other skills, so let's see what they were. Yeah, so, like, Destiny Weaving, that sounds like an interesting skill, like, name, right? That makes sense for Valkyries, because they are choosers of the slain.
Yep.
And then I don't know what Cygnus Essence is supposed to represent, but I assume it's got to do with their head wings and the fact that they're based on the White Titan and stuff. So, like, FGO definitely does make interesting skills which are lore-related, and does them in unique ways, and a lot of the stuff in Matt's profiles is, like, explaining that, oh, and also this character should have, like, they have a really low rank of charisma or something, or, like, they have other generic skills. Like, there are lots of people who have, like, military tactics, because they should, but it's not in-game, because in-game tactics is a really boring skill. Stuff like that. So yeah, just, this is an overview of skills we wanted to throw out there, because skills are interesting, there's a lot of questions about skills. Unfortunately, the answer to it is just, skills are a really generic way of classifying stuff, so if you want to, like, know what skills are supposed to do, you have to read about them, and unfortunately, some skills aren't well described. I think that was always kind of a problem. Some skills aren't well described in Fate all the time, but especially for
to understand
FGO
skills, you
original
honestly have to
understand.
like, one of the main things is you have to actually understand the character behind the skill, or in front of the skill even. Because, like, once you understand the character and why and their legends and lore and all that stuff, then the skills they have tend to make more sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start questioning, is like, so why does it do this mechanic?
Mm-hmm. And
So
some of
it's-
them
it's-
do make sense. Like,
Yes.
do you know why Tactics powers up your Noble Phantasm? Because that's what its
Puts you in the
explanation is.
most puts you in the most optimal place to use it?
Yes, it's even more mechanical than that. It straight up says in the description for military tactics, it improves the quality of a servant's anti-armor noble phantasms and gives a better defense against anti-armor noble phantasms because you know how to deploy armies.
Yeah.
There are other ones that are kind of like that. Like, Voyager of the Storm is another great example. Why is it attack up plus NP strength up? Because Voyager of the Storm literally says this is the ability to command a boat, and because that takes the act of commanding a boat takes the qualities of charisma and military tactics. It is similar to those, so literally its in-game effect is its charisma plus military tactics.
Huh.
Yeah, so they've done some clever stuff with what the fluff is. It's just sometimes they don't write the fluff and they just do a mechanical thing, and you're like, well, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, what really is Liz's performance continuation? Is it just a joke on battle continuation because she's an idol? Why does it give stars then? It does something different. But yeah, no, Lucky has a good point. If you really want to know why servants have skills and what those skills are supposed to do, you have to wait a little bit if they're brand new for people to translate their profiles and stuff, but just wait a while and you'll usually get some level of explanation. I think FGO has gotten really good about explaining skills. And I know we've done homebrew stuff before. Check out Bonus Stage. We'll do another episode one of these months. we need to figure out what our next Bonus Stage like topic is. We've been real focused on the first couple, and then we just kind of petered out.
Yeah.
We still want to do it. We still have ideas. We just need to figure out what we're doing. But when I design homebrew servants for that type of thing, I always make sure in their profiles to write what skills are supposed to do, because as an outsider, that annoys me a little bit when they don't explain. So if you want to take a crack at that kind of stuff, it's very important, I think, to figure out what the explanation of like new and unique skills is.
To be fair, I can understand it if like a skill needs to be kept a secret for like story reasons. But other than that, no.
Yeah.
It's like the characters being anti-heroes and stuff. It's like that's not something that maybe you don't want to have them get out immediately. That's why like some servants aren't actually like named immediately. They're given like the archer of blah de blah.
Well, and also technically that's supposed to be a theme of Fate, is that you don't reveal true names. Like that's a huge deal in the original FSN. It's a big deal in Zero and in Extra and in Apocrypha. FGO skip that most of the time. Most people will just straight up give you their true name because there are so many of the classes, I think. But they got a little bit better about that in future stories because it helps them keep some mystery and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's our
that's
time
about
at?
it. Yeah, we're at over an hour and 10 minutes. More like an hour 15, but some of that will be cut out. Like there was a big silence just there that should be edited out.
Okay.
But still, I think we're about done. We can wind up the show.
Yeah, let's wind down. I don't have a meme of the week. I haven't been
Honestly,
really
we've
thinking
had a
about
busy
meme of
week.
the Just
Our memes are gonna be our friggin' Prisma discussion. That's all anybody's been talking about this week. There are loads of screen caps in the Discord.
Oh yeah. Meme of the week is play Prisma, go play Azure Lane, join the Studio Omega Guild.
All right, well, let's move into Master Feedback because we have a thing.
Yes, what? The Twitter contest is over, and we have selected our winner and our runner-up. So, congratulations to Dallas Rhodes as our winner, and Dark Rios III as our runner-up. Dallas Rhodes entry, it was, so I was listening to the post New Year's episode while family was visiting right during the part where Lucky was being salty about Bryn, my 67-year-old aunt walked in, looked at me, and said, "Why does boy so damn whiny?" I laughed and fell out of my chair. Personally, that made me laugh.
No,
That someone was listening.
that somebody was listening to
complain
us out loud.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I think really encapsulates the Let's Talk FGO experience right there.
And our runner-up, their entry was, honestly, my favorite moment was at the start of episode 46 when y'all got real about NA players being upset about the first anniversary and talked about why people shouldn't want to fire Albert. I appreciate y'all being one of the voices of reason during that whole fiasco. That got me. I was like, dang, man. I feel I want to say valuable, but I feel like my voice was appreciated when I read that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That like one of them was funny, and then the other one was like, oh, we're reaching people seriously in a sense, right? Like people hear us and like feel our message. Which
Yep. So congratulations to both of you. We'll be trying to contact you on Twitter in the next couple days. We're just gonna need your email address so we can send you some gift cards. We'll talk about whether you want a Google Play or an iTunes.
Yeah.
But
we'll figure out how to slide into those
wait.
DMs.
Yep.
But yeah, so we'll get a hold of them. Lucky, I believe you took screen caps so you could like show the tweets in video, right?
Yeah.
So you guys should already know who won and all that from like literally you can see their tweets and stuff. All right. Yeah. I don't know what's going to be on next week. Listen. I really don't want to start any shit with future Lucky, editor Lucky. He's a spicy boy.
Yeah.
I could make some jokes about like events being over and stuff, but like just in general, next week, Summer 3 will be over in Japan. I hope that it won't be over before this episode comes out because just that'll be sillier for our listeners. Once again, make sure you support us on Patreon. You can get the audio like right away when it's done, so there's no need to worry about your news being late. But that'll probably be something we talk about. We'll probably have second impressions about Prisma because there'll only be a few days left in the event. So, we should have been able to do like the extra raids and get all our stuff. Everybody will have their copy of Chloe that we can hopefully gush about. I'll have spent some more tickets on it. And
By that time, I should have rolled, and everyone will know if I am spicy over not rolling Nev and the Lily.
Mhm.
I'm still gonna roll. I might actually record it. Who knows?
hey, yeah, you can do that now.
I
Those videos are always real popular. Also, depending on the timing, the FGO panel might be over already. So we will probably talk about if there's any news at that panel. Now, other than that, yeah, I don't know. We'll have another episode. It'll be fun.
We do this weekly
Yep.
somehow.
Yeah. And I mean, people like longer episodes, but we as creators don't mind making shorter stuff if we're like, fuck, we don't got anything to talk about. Listen, if you want to hear us talk forever, go watch What's Up. We're on like 2 weeks in a row, we went for 2.5 hours. Which
And every
kills
time
me
we
in
always
the
seem to
rendering
bring-
and uploading, but still, it's a lot of fun.
And somehow every week we bring in like more philosophy and ethics.
Mm-hmm.
This week it was in the morals and ethics in war.
Also, we talked about the psychological nature of fear a lot, like irrational fears. So check that out.
It's like, these
that'll
are
be in
really
the
real talks
end
wrapped
card.
up in anime and video games.
So check that out. That'll be in the end card somewhere.
Somewhere.
Yeah, whatever.
Such
I
a
do
bad-
end cards. It's the thing. Just watch the end of the video. You can click and tap stuff. So,
Don't click on that.
that's me bumping my spring again. That happens a lot. Hold on. What does that look like in the sound? I can probably cut that out. But now I have to leave it in because we talked about it. Shit.
Yeah. See, this is why you don't talk about everything.
Sorry, my bad. Don't worry. Normalize will make it so that's not super loud, but it'll still be there. Listen, guys. I talk with my hands a lot. It's hard. There's a fucking metal arm in front of my face.
This is why I literally have my phone in my hand.
So your hands are busy. Nice. I mean, I have a fidget spinner. I could do that, or a stress ball. I could like try and
If you need
occupy
to do
my
something
hands,
to
but
distract your hands, you have to do it.
so let's go ahead and wind the show down. And I will say this by saying, hey, if you like this episode, give it a like. If you have any comments, leave them in the comment section down below. Love our comment section when you guys are actually paying attention to the episode in the description. One, I'm not spicy. You can also join our Discord. That link is in the description, and it's a great way to get a hold of us all the time, and lots of other members in our community. Robust community. They talk about all kinds of stuff, often without us, which is fine. We're a community. We're bringing people together. And of course, if you are new here and have not already, please subscribe to get all our videos when they come out. Don't forget to hit that bell for notifications, even if you are already subscribed, so you always know when an episode is posted, because you never know when we'll post something.
We're trying to work on that, I swear.
We are, but still, like, even without just Let's Talk FGO, like, sometimes I'm like, fuck it, I want to post this video at midnight. Or, hey, I made an extra video that's a bonus.
Read the description.
Stuff like that. So yeah, go ahead and check that out. And of course, like we said at the front of the show and earlier, you can support us on Patreon to get access to episodes early and lots of other stuff. And fuel stuff like, not 100%, but a little bit of stuff like Lucky buying a new phone, getting other hardware and software equipment and stuff. And
Yeah.
also, you can join in and listen to episodes. It's cool. Yeah, that's about it. Let's go ahead and wrap up the show. The magical girl hour of power is over, so we have to transform back into our normal selves.
Back to regular mundane life.